So, hello everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the new day and new vlog. Today, we have with us our beloved friend Shubhadeep. How are you, Shubhadeep?
I'm doing good. What about you?
Doing superb. And in yesterday's video, you must have seen that we talked with Muntasir regarding his software engineering part-time job experience in Germany. We have made a playlist regarding part-time jobs in Germany. You can visit that playlist, and we are trying to cover different experiences. So we thought that we'll talk with Shubhadeep regarding his part-time job experience, which is in one of the research groups, I would say, like how he applied, what is the wage that one can expect, and what are the things that one should keep in mind, the insights, the recommendations. We'll try to cover all these points. So Shubhadeep, if we start regarding the information about the part-time job that you are currently doing.
Okay, so I am working as a research assistant at a
Okay.
research group under the university called the Unit of Real Estate Studies.
Yeah.
It's under the Department of Civil Engineering.
Okay.
And my task is as a my job is a research assistant,
Yeah.
but my task is as a front end developer in
Okay.
that research group.
Okay, so in a research group, you work as a front end developer. Now, the first and the foremost point is how you got this job.
Okay, so I was actually approached by the professor on
Okay,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
And the professor had seen the projects that I had on my LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
he was impressed, and he wanted to hire me as a front end developer in order to help them in their research.
Okay, so like you said, this research group is for this particular university.
Yes, this research group belongs to the university. It's under the Department of Civil Engineering in the
Yeah.
university.
Yeah. So, like the professor himself approached you for this
Yes.
job, and while searching for part-time jobs, did you search for any other portals, which websites you?
I did search the usual search. I searched on LinkedIn
Yeah.
and Indeed, and
Yeah.
also on the Fraunhofer and DFKI portals that we have.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to search any longer because I was approached by professor, and
Okay.
so I decided to go with that job.
Okay. Now, one of the question is that in how much time you got this job? Like in how much time you got the reply once you started applying? Just as an approximate idea.
Yeah, so I was it was like during the end of my first semester.
Okay.
So about a month of time where I started searching for jobs.
Yeah.
It was then I was actually back in India at that time, and I was
Okay.
approached by I looked at my LinkedIn. I saw that there was a message on the
Yeah.
LinkedIn messages that professor has approached me
Ah,
about
great.
this job offer, and I decided to accept it. So
Okay.
I would say it took me about a month.
Okay, so you directly got the job offer, but did you had to send any documents? For example, your CV, your cover letter, or you were directly selected based on your LinkedIn profile?
Okay, so the professor had told me that he had selected me based on the LinkedIn profile and the projects and stuff that I'd worked on,
Yeah.
because I always list them on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
However, the professor still asked me to send a CV and send some formal documents like CV and
Cover letter.
and also my transcript,
Okay.
because they wanted to verify that I am a student of this university, and
Yeah.
my and the master's the master what's that called, the
Master's transcript, but
not
transcript you already
not the
mentioned.
transcript, the enrollment certificate.
Okay, yeah, matriculation certificate.
Matriculation certificate.
Yeah,
So
correct.
they asked for that as well in order to verify that I am a student of this
Correct.
university.
Yeah,
And so that is all the documents that they needed from me.
yeah.
And after that, I had to go for the contract signing.
Okay, so you were already selected, then you had to show these documents to verify because this is the research group in the university. So you have to be a student in the university, and you submitted your matriculation certificate, CV, your cover letter, and like your transcript, and then you are good to go. Now, when you went to sign the contract, did you had to sign online or you had to come to the university and do that procedure?
Okay, so had to go to the research group there in the university.
Okay.
I had to sign it before the two postdocs or members of the research group that they were present there.
Yeah.
And I had to sign before them.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who presented me with the contract. The professor wasn't there, unfortunately. However, the postdocs under the professor who were working under the professor, they were there, and they provided me with the contract, and I signed it and sent it to them.
So-
and, provided it to them.
Yeah. So one more question here is that do you have to take any other document apart from it, like any proof for your work permit or something? Did they require or?
Yeah, so they did require a copy of my visa, which had the so-called work permit written on it, that I am allowed to work in Germany
Yeah.
for the 120 full days or
Yeah.
240 half days,
Yeah.
that duration.
Got it.
So yeah, they had to take a photocopy of that.
Okay. And any other documents, for example, your health insurance, tax ID or something which was required?
Okay, so the tax ID was definitely required because they had to send it to the Finanzamt in our city.
Yeah.
And regarding my health insurance, no, they didn't require my health insurance because
Okay.
I'm already covered under the so-called public health insurance.
Yeah.
So that's so they didn't need any health insurance documents from me.
Okay, no proof was required regarding. In Muntasir's case, it was, I think, required as he discussed yesterday. Now, talking about you have signed the contract. Now, what was your initial time period which was written for that contract? Maybe like how much time you had to work, for example, was that contract for 6 months, 3 months, and how long was that?
Okay, so
the very first
yeah,
contract.
sure. Okay, so the very first contract that I was given was for 6 months,
Yeah.
and I had to work 15 hours per week.
Okay, yeah. And so did it get renewed after 6 months?
Yes. So
how does it work?
Yes, yes. So I did get it renewed twice actually. This is my second time that was renewed, and so yeah, again, and it was every time it was for 6 months that they renewed it.
Okay, now talking about the contract, now how much wage can one expect or income can a student expect, maybe per hour income, if he works in a research group or this kind of job that you're doing?
Yes. So as a research assistant, since that is the official position which I was hired on,
Yeah.
a student can expect around 13 to 14 euros.
Okay. Okay, so this
Per
is the
hour.
per hour, this is the hourly wage, and are your expenses getting managed with this amount, your monthly expense?
Yes, that is actually a lot of enough money. If you're living in the student dorms, then you actually, even after paying your rent and your health insurance, you're still left with left with enough savings
Yeah.
to last throughout the month, and even after that, have some more savings.
Yeah, so I think that is important and good that you had your contract, you got your contract for 6 months, you had, like you said, 13 to 14 euros expected amount per hour that one can get. Now, talking about how is the work there? Like you work as a front end developer, so you had some projects, but did you had to learn some skills more once you joined that? Was there any training, like once you joined the research group, and how you get to interact?
So I didn't have any have any training as such.
Yeah.
Because I was working on stuff that I'd already worked on
Okay.
before.
Yeah.
However, in the later stages, as the work got like more complicated, and like for example, I had to host the web application that we had in our university website. So using our university template, the university's header and footer. So to do that, I had to learn a bit of PHP.
Okay.
But that's all I would say that I had to like look into or get some knowledge upon.
Okay.
But mostly it was in my area of work.
Okay, so I think that is good. And how many people work in your research group, and how is the team structure looks
Okay,
like?
so like there are a lot of people in the research group. However, the project mainly concerns three of us.
Okay.
Which is the professor under whom I am there.
Yeah.
Professor Bjorn Martin Kozak, and there's another PhD who is working under him.
Yeah.
Dennis Aldenov, under whom I am working.
Okay.
And there is also Dennis's brother, Lucas Aldenov, who works with me. He looks at the back end, and I mostly handle the front end.
Okay, so you have tasks divided accordingly, and then you have to work. Now, talking about your working, like you said, you have to work in this research group. And how is the work system looks like? Like, is it flexible? Like you said, 16 hours. But do you have to work 4 days, 4 hours, or how does that dynamics work?
Okay, so it doesn't matter. I was actually given a lot of freedom as to how I want to structure my 15 hours throughout the week.
Yeah.
I was told that I could even work
15 hours or 16 hours?
15 hours.
Oh, 15 hours per week. Okay, yeah.
So I was actually given a lot of freedom to structure those 15 hours. I could work during the day, work during the night,
Yeah.
work on weekends, work on holidays. It was completely up to me.
Okay, so you have to manage 15 hours. I thought 16
you
hours.
just have to hit the goal of 15 hours per week.
Okay, so you have to work 15 hours, but you can work anytime, even on weekends.
Even on weekends.
But how does the track record gets maintained?
Okay, so they do have a timesheet that they maintain on a C file server, and I just have to whenever I'm working, I just have to mention the start and the end time as the duration I worked.
Yeah.
And that is how they maintain the timesheet.
Okay, so you have a timesheet. You have to enter 15 hours in a week, and then you submit that monthly, or how does that work?
No, it is present there on the server. I just have to update that sheet.
Okay, for every month you update, or whenever you
Whenever I work, let's say I did a stint of 4 hours, I worked on Monday, let's say for 4 hours. So I just mentioned that Monday, the date, and let's say I started at 3 p.m. and I ended at 7 p.m. And so I just mentioned the start and end times.
Yeah.
And and there is also another place where they have a break. So like so let's say during that 4 hours, you took a half an hour break. So you mentioned that, okay, 30 minutes break I took.
Okay.
So that's how they structured the
And that's how it gets maintained, your 15 hours per
it's
week
on the
job.
server, so you just update that Excel file, and that's how you maintain the timesheet.
Okay, so I think that is also good. And how does your work system looks like? Like, do you have daily meetings, or like when you have to update the supervisors regarding your work?
Yeah, so Normally, we do not have any daily meetings, and I mostly have to update the supervisor if there is any major changes that I'm doing,
Okay.
or if the supervisor has any major changes that I need to do that
Yeah.
that he wants to suggest.
Yeah.
So that's how we schedule our meetings. But normally, we don't have any daily meetings.
Okay. Now, one question I have, like you said, it's 15 hours per week, but does it happen with you sometime that you work 20 hours per week? You can extend the working times, or you only worked 6 hours in a week. So, does it happen like that with you sometimes? Can you do that?
It depends. Maybe like in some cases where like if they're exams, then I usually work a few less hours, and
Yeah.
usually I convey that to them that since my exams are coming up, so I won't be able to hit my 15-hour per week
Okay.
stint.
Okay, but then you are getting paid accordingly, right? If
Yeah.
you work 7 hours, then you will get paid for 7 hours itself.
Yeah.
It works like that.
Yeah.
But does it happen you had worked 20 hours as well? Suppose in one week you work only 5 hours, but next week maybe you recover those 5 hours.
Okay, yeah. So
the
you can
difference.
do that. Like, let's say you worked 5 hours this week, and the next week you worked, let's say, 25 hours in order to cover up
Okay.
the remaining 10 hours.
Okay.
So you can do that. You will still be paid the same.
Okay, so I think it's good. The flexibility is good enough for the work, and you have to update whenever the maybe supervisors ask for any update. And how do you feel about the work culture? If
Yeah,
you
the work
talk,
culture is actually really good. It's very flexible, and I get enough time to do my studies as well as work.
Okay.
In my time, actually,
Yeah.
according to my timetable.
yeah, this is a good point that you raised, because I remember some of the people wanted to know as well that if we are doing a part-time job in Germany, so are the exams or the studies, because we have to attend the lectures, we have to submit the assignments in university. So is it manageable?
Yeah. So, however, I would like to mention that this is strictly in my case that it's very
Yeah.
manageable.
Yeah.
Do talk with your supervisors if you're going for a job,
Yeah.
whether it will be manageable for you or not.
Correct.
So that is a very good advice that I would like to give you.
Correct, because it depends on person to person. Everyone's experience
And from
can be
job to
different.
job.
Correct, from job to job. Maybe like he has this flexibility, he can cover hours, but it
Yeah.
can really depend on your contract as well, what it says in the contract and how much time you are allowed to work. And your contract also got renewed as well. So you work in that research group as a front end developer, as a research assistant. So I think that is also a
My
good
task is a front end developer, but
Yeah.
the official position is research assistant.
research assistant, and it's good. And one more point that I wanted to ask, so you are working currently, right? So what are the recommendations or the insights that you want to give for the students who are looking for part-time job? Maybe if they want to apply like you have been approached by the professor, but if someone wants to get highlighted or want a part-time job, then what he can do
Yeah.
or
So,
she can do.
Yeah, so definitely have a well arranged CV
Yeah.
with perfectly mentioned what your work experience is, where you studied, where your education and everything. Make the CV clean, and since we are in Germany, try to have a Europass format CV,
Okay.
because that helps a lot. And also, even though you will see that on a lot of job portals that the cover letter is optional, it's better to give a cover letter, because the cover letter is sort of your story of what you have done, your experience and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and that helps the employer get an idea about you. So
Correct.
it is always beneficial to give a cover letter.
Okay, so and I think it's also important to keep the profile updated, like
Yeah,
you said,
so,
your LinkedIn
if you,
profile.
If you want, let's say, if you want professors to know about your profile, and
Yeah.
maybe you could have a chance of having them approach you.
Yeah.
Do have some projects that you have done in your bachelor's or as personal projects, and have them listed on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Have them have their descriptions be very thorough as to
Yeah.
what you have developed.
Yeah.
And that will really help you help those professors understand, okay, this person has worked on these technologies, and
Yeah.
they might be very familiar with them, and maybe then we can approach this person.
Correct. So I think this is also one of the important advice, that you have to keep your profile updated, your LinkedIn, like you have been approached by the professor itself, but in some cases where you might have to apply. Now, one more point, like you were directly selected, so there was no interview.
Yeah, there was an interview, but like
It was just to know you.
it
Or
was just to know me, because they had already seen that I had worked in these technologies, and they explained to me the project that I would be working on.
yeah.
So yeah, once I listened to the project, I understood that it is the same technologies that I've worked with that the project will be in. So I agreed to it.
Okay, so I think that is just to know you, but you can share your details, what kind of projects that you have worked on, what skills you have, and it's good, like the skills that you have, you are working on the same field, and you are managing your studies as well with them. And as you said, the expenses with, even if you are working 15 hours per week, but in Shubdeep's case, it is like he is able to manage his expense, although it depends on case to case. Any other point regarding the part-time job that you want to highlight?
No, I guess we have covered everything.
Yeah, I think we have covered everything step by step, like how you can apply. In his case, he have been approached. Then the amount that he told, 13 to 14 euros per hour. The working time is flexible, right? You have to fill a timesheet. When you are called to sign a contract, you have to bring tax ID and your residence work permit proof with you, and then you are good to go.
And your matriculation certificate.
And your matriculation certificate as well. One more thing, Shubdeep, is that you are working online, or you have to go somewhere to a research group, like you said, you're working.
So it depends again. If you want to go there, sit at the research group, we can work there as well.
Yeah.
That this is strictly in my case, however.
Okay, yeah.
And if you want to work from home, you could do that as well. That was what I was told. So I decided to work from home mostly.
Yeah, so it's good. You can work from home as well, and
Occasionally, I would just go to the research group to show them the progress.
Yeah.
But apart from that, mostly I worked on the entire project from home.
correct. And one of the last question that I have is that, suppose like you had previous work experience, and then you did some projects, you were selected, then you were able to manage. Suppose if a person who do not have much projects, or who do not have any experience, so does the teammates or the research group helps you? Suppose if you are doing the project, like how's the work environment? Suppose if you are taking some time to do some task, right, and you're not familiar with the technology or with the task, so how is it in that case?
Yeah, so that depends. Usually these research groups hire based on your experience.
Yeah.
So they are looking for people who are usually well versed with any sort of language. So like I worked on React, so they would look for people who are well versed with React.
Yeah.
And usually they might hire people who are not that well versed but are willing to learn.
Yeah.
But it is still few, and it is still very few cases where that happens.
Yeah.
So
And
you need to have some skills that you need to show showcase in order to get these jobs.
correct. And during your work time, do you get time as well to upskill yourself for the job,
yes, I
if you have
do
to learn any new skill?
Yes, I do actually. I did that for when I had to host the web application on our university website. I had to upskill myself to understand PHP and our university's template, how it works.
Yeah. So I think it's good, and you get, I think, enough time to do that. And how is the work going right now? Because
It's
you're
going good.
working
It's
out now.
going
Is
good. Yeah, we have hosted our web application, and it's up there on the university website.
Yeah, so it's good. Thank you, Shubdeep. I think we tried to cover different aspects, different points, and thank you for sharing your experience, insights regarding, we can say, the research group job or the research assistant job in one of the research groups in university for the students. And that's it for this vlog. I'll end this vlog now. Rest, like, comment, share, subscribe. It doesn't take much time. Bye bye. Ciao, ciao. Namaste. Chalo. See you in new day, new vlog. Also, you can go to different playlists and watch videos according to your interest. You can go to RP2 Kaislauten playlist to watch videos related to RP2 Kaislauten. We have talked with Shubdeep also about some of the accommodation. And now you can also go to part-time jobs in Germany playlist to see related videos accordingly. Bye bye.
Bye bye.